might have heard of test-driven development, TDD. Yeah, have you heard of TDD? You probably use it already. What's the difference between BDD and TDD? Test-driven development and BDD come from the same place really, so from the same philosophy, same approach. But they vary in some fundamental aspects. The first aspect is that TDD comes from a development perspective, a developer's or tester's perspective. So you sit as a developer or a tester and you look at a module or a unit or a class, and you write some tests to make sure that the class behaves as it should. Okay? With BDD, you look at it from an actor's perspective. Well, what's an actor? An actor is basically someone who uses the system, who participates in the system. And you look at it from the actor perspective and you see, well, does it behave the way I, as an actor, want it to behave? So that's a major difference there. TDD is all about testing. It's about making sure that things work how they should be working. Okay? BDD does that as well, but it's not a testing tool. BDD is all about specification. It's about specifying our behavior, how systems should work. TDD is kind of like an inside-out approach. So you have you write a test and you write some code, and then you ship out to the stakeholders. Okay? So it's kind of middle, inside out. Well, BDD starts from the outside. So you sit on the stakeholders, the customers, and you look at the system and you define the behavior. And then you start moving in towards the testing and the coding. Okay? TDD is about assertions, yeah? So you assert that something, given a certain input, will give you a certain output. BDD is about communication and collaboration. It's making sure that we all work together to achieve a certain result, basically. And with TDD, of course, we'll do testing to make sure we have no bugs in our system. Now, with BDD, we get less bugs, we get fewer bugs per release. That's a fact. But that's not the objective. That's just a happy coincidence, really. Just a happy side effect. We get fewer bugs because we communicate with each other, we know exactly how everything should work, and we collaborate. We all work together. And therefore, we get fewer bugs, because most bugs arise from a lack of communication and mutual understanding. And that's why we get fewer bugs by applying BDD. Okay, I'm going to do you a favor now. If you want to leave or have a nap, or text your mates on your iPhone, then please make sure you get one thing out of tonight's presentation. And this one thing is this. BDD is not, I repeat, BDD is not a testing methodology. BDD is a communication and collaboration methodology. Okay? If you use BDD as a test methodology, you will fail. Why are you going to fail? Because you start making the mistakes that we'll talk about next. So there's one thing you always should keep in mind, is BDD is about communication and collaboration. Now, if you start treating BDD as a testing methodology, then you might assume that's just a job for the testers, the developers. So if you're a product owner, or a project manager, or a business analyst, you might think, well, it's nothing to do with me, it's a testing thing. Okay, you'd be wrong. For BDD to work, everyone must work together. And that means that product owners, and project managers, and business analysts must sit together and start writing features. And must start specifying the behavior of the system. How many product owners have we got in here, by the way? Can you raise your hands if you're a product owner? Project manager? Yeah? Business analyst? No? All developers? Okay. So just for you then, make sure you write features. So product owners and project managers must sit down with all the team and write down the features. And I'm not saying you should write every single scenario, but make sure you write the basic scenarios. And make sure you review all the other scenarios as well. Yeah? And if you're a developer or a tester, make sure that you write step definitions. So you need to read the features and write some code that exercises the features. Yeah? That's pretty essential for BDD to work. Now, the second rule to be successful in BDD So the features you write must be readable by everyone and anyone. So developers, testers, products owners, business analysts, they must be able to pick up a feature and read it and understand it. So there's two things about readability. One, you'll be able to read something and know exactly what it means. And two, you need to have the inclination to read it. Sometimes we look at something and we think, no, I can't be bothered there. Yeah? So there are a few tips I can give you on how to make your features more readable. The first tip, and probably the major advice I can give you, is this. Is don't put any technical stuff into your features. That's a no-no. I mean, look at this feature here. It involves clicking some URLs, got some JavaScript in it, it's got a next path in here, a JavaScript function, an event, a Redis database. I mean, looking at this, I don't know what's going on, and I wrote the bloody thing, you know, in the first place. So what chance has your colleague, or your product owner, or your business analyst to understand what's going on? None. So leave the technical stuff out of your features. Second tip, use background scenarios. Most BDD tools like Cucumber support background scenarios. And background scenarios allow you to abstract and remove duplication from the scenarios. So say in this example, we are actually defining the behavior for a credit card, yeah? We can change the PIN. But of course, before we can do anything to change the PIN, we need to be able to have inserted the card and go to the change PIN menu before we can actually exercise all the scenarios. So we can either put the steps, there's 3 steps, into each and every scenario in a feature, or we can abstract them as a background scenario, which I'm sure you'll agree makes it much more readable. Scenario outlines is another good thing that we can use with BDD. If we have a scenario that involves different kind of parameters, we can parameterize it with scenario outline. So in this case, instead of having a separate scenario that takes an input of 2 + 2 and gives an output of 4, and another scenario that takes an input of 98 + 1 and gives an output of 99, we have one simple scenario that takes a number of parameters. So again, it makes it easier to read. And actually it's much easier to run as well. My personal favorite, tags. I love using tags in scenarios and features. Make things so much easier to read and to execute. Tags basically, the first thing they do is they show you exactly that someone actually went to the trouble of reading the scenario and categorizing it, yeah? So, as a reader, I can look through a number of different scenarios, and the feature can have many scenarios, and I can look at the tags and I can filter the ones I want to focus on. So, for example, I'm looking for the reporting scenarios, I can look at the tags named reporting, and I can just focus on this particular scenarios. And the side effect, of course, as well, is that BDD tools allow you to filter running features based on tags. So if, for example, I have a feature that would take too long to run, maybe it involves, I don't know, some batch processing or something like that, then I can tag it as nightly, and I can tell my BDD tool like Cucumber, hey, just run the nightly features overnight. Yeah? So then I save some time. Now, my favorite tags are these. I normally tag by timing of the scenario. So we have a scenario that runs on a daily basis, I tag as daily. If the scenario runs at peak times, I tag as peak. And also tag on dependencies. If we have a specific database dependency, or a proxy or Redis or something else, I will tag it. And of course, progress is very important. So I will tag things as done. So I know this whole scenario should be working flawlessly. Or work in progress, which means that, you know, if something fails, then, you know, it's not such a huge thing. Actually, Cucumber has a great feature that, allows you to actually specify a certain number of WIP tags. And if the number is exceeded, the Cucumber will fail with a message telling you that you've got too many work in progress, too many features that are work in progress. So you're spreading yourself too thin, effectively. So that's a nice little extra, really. Okay, so tags are cool user. That's another one of my favorites, is the segue step. What's a segue step? Well, we have a scenario here where we have a precondition, I upgrade my membership to the Pro plan, and we have an action which is I confirm the upgrade. Sorry, we have an action where I upgrade my membership, and we have a number of consequences, of results, yeah? Well, there's quite a few of them. I see a message saying that I've upgraded, and I get an email, and I get a database update, and blah, 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 blah. All this stuff happens when I upgrade my membership, yeah? Well, there's nothing wrong with that as such. It's all right, but it's too many ands, you know? It's not very readable. So what I normally do, I add an extra step, what I call a segue step. And it looks like that. So I add a step that says, then the following happens. And then I use bullet points to describe all the results. And I'm sure you'll agree this is a much more readable scenario. So you might ask me, what happens in the step definitions? What happens when I go to implement the code, that exercise, then the following happens? Well, the answer is nothing. This is just a segue step, it's there for readability. I don't have any code because the step doesn't do anything. It's just there to make things more readable. Yeah? Simple as that. Okay. So, I'm not sure if you're ready for this. You want to see the worst scenario ever.
Yeah.
Yeah? Feast your eyes on this. The actual scenario is actually 4 times as long as that. But obviously I didn't want to waste 4 slides, so just a quarter of it. It's an amazing scenario really, it's actually a real life scenario. And as you can see, it's got everything in it. It's got duplication, technical terms. It actually has some Ruby code in it, you know, amazingly. This is just appalling, you know. It's, I mean, words fail me really. It's just horrible, horrible stuff. So yeah, so someone actually wrote this. And well, hopefully by following the tips that we just talked about, we'll never be in this position, yeah? Look at the scenario, nobody will bother reading that ever, okay? Right. So we talked about readability. I'd like to talk a little bit about actors. Does everybody know what an actor is? And please don't say Brad Pitt. Yeah, an actor is someone or something that interacts with our system. And therefore, it expects some behavior from our system. So the best way to actually elicit behavior, to discover features, is by looking at the actors that we have in our system. Which is fine, but the biggest mistake I've seen people doing is generalizing their actors. And the biggest fallacy that you can do in BDD when it comes to defining your features is start talking about the user actor. Yeah? I've seen so many times people say, as a user, well, what does it mean? What does a user do? Well, let's look at this meetup here. So we got a meetup, we got a website for a meetup, yeah? You'll be in there, presumably. Who are the actors for the meetup system? And you might say, well, a user is an actor, yeah? Well, what does a user do with meetups? Well, he uses meetups, I suppose. It's difficult to describe exactly what a user does, right? The way I look at it, you have different types of user, yeah? You have different roles of user. Users wear different hats. And say for our meetup here, we would normally have like what I call a learner user. Well, that's someone who wants to come here just for the talks, because they want to learn something new. And we can also have a socializing user, a socializer. Someone comes here just to have a drink and meet his mates and have a good time, have a chat, you know, that sort of stuff. And of course, let's not forget about the organizers. You know, they use this as well. They go to the website. But what they want to do with the website, they want to see how many people are coming so they can organize for chairs and beers and everything, yeah? So we have 3 types of users here, and each one of them requires a different set of behaviors, a different feature. And it's very difficult to elicit if you start thinking about a user, you know, inverted quotes. So what we should be doing, we should be specializing the users. So we'll be talking about a learner user, a socializing user, an organizer, instead of just a user. And what I normally say is that, you know, the word user should only be used in a drug-related context, yeah? Not in BDD.